Alright, welcome to the final assembly video for the Huntsman controller, and on this video we're going to be talking about the Brook Gen 5X version of the Huntsman. So this one is going to be the one that is compatible with the PS5. So yeah, in this video we're going to be discussing what you're going to be doing to set this all up, and so yeah, let's proceed. So you might be wondering why we already have this set up over here and shown. That is because on this video we're not going to be starting from the start of the build. That is because I want you to go back to the GP2040 video, assembly video, and follow that first before going back over here, just with a couple differences. Okay, couple key differences is that for these top panels, for the left panel, the right panel, and the menu, for those connections on the buttons, I don't want you to put any DuPont connectors. Okay, so as you can see here, no DuPont connectors. Okay, and then here for the menu and the left side panel, no DuPont connectors. Okay, all bare wire. And also in that GP2040 video I told you to splice the ground wires together into a single connection. Okay, so no need to do that. We can just separate them, have them separate connections. And that is because in this Brook Gen 5X board, we have enough terminals for those ground connections. So on this ground terminals, all we got to do is loosen these screws for our connection and then tighten it back down, and we have enough for those. Okay, another key difference on that one is for when you're setting up the pass-through with the USB-C connector, you're going to be using USB-B instead, and that's because the Brook Gen 5X uses USB-B connection. Okay, so USB-B connection to USB-A into our pass-through. Okay, and then this one is not a difference. This is a similarity for that tutorial. For that one, I want you to still set up the joystick connections all the same way as we did on the GP2040 board, and that is because the Brook Gen 5X are using DuPont connectors for that part. Okay, so we're going to be doing that. So yeah, so follow that video and then come back here once you're at the point where we're connecting the GP2040 board to the buttons, to the wires. Okay, so I will mark it on that video over there too, so that you know where to stop and come back over here. So yeah, do that, follow the video, and then come back here when you're done. Okay, I'll see you later. All right, now that you're all caught up, we're going to be proceeding with the first step that we're going to be doing. We're going to be setting this aside for now, so put this one aside for now, and then we're going to be grabbing our Gen 5X board. Okay, so grab that, and then we're also going to be grabbing our jumper piece right here. Okay, so this is the on the parts list, this is called the 2.54 pin-to-pin jumper. Okay, so while it's still easy to do so, I recommend doing it now. So we're gonna be jumping these two pins over here. Okay, so hold on, let me see the focus here. Okay, so we're gonna be jumping this pin and this pin. Okay, so these two right there, we're gonna be connecting those two with this jumper. Okay, so do that, then like so. Okay, so we need this so that the joysticks will function properly. If you don't have this, it's not gonna work. So if you also chose not to buy these, you can also just make two JST or two DuPont connectors, and then put a wire connection between them, and then use that to jump these two pins. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna be proceeding now with putting this onto the panels. So for that, I need you to grab your M3 screws, the shorter one with the flat head. Okay, so get those, and we're gonna be needing 4 of them. You can also just use 2, but best to just use the 4, right? So if you're gonna be using 2, I recommend doing these 2 corners right here. Okay, but yeah, we're gonna be using 4, so the orientation will be this way. Okay, so be laying it down here, And as you can see there, that's where we put our M3 heat set inserts. So we're just gonna grab our screwdriver and put that down, okay? Okay. All right, so now that that's secured, we're gonna be turning our panel over this way so that it's easier to follow our Brook Gen 5X board schematics, which is this one right here. Okay, so we're gonna be taking care of looking at this one on this step of the process, and we're gonna be taking care of the touchpad key. So the touchpad key will be this second button right here. So I'm just gonna turn it over again, and we're gonna grab the red wire for it. So it's gonna be this guy over here, okay? And it's gonna be the wire attached to it. So it's gonna be this one, and then you're gonna be we're gonna be connecting that to the, hold on, just organize this a little better. We're going to be connecting that to the Brook board on this terminal right here, okay? And if we look at the schematic for the Gen 5X board, you can see here, it says there TP key, that's the touchpad key, and that's where we need to connect it, okay? So 1, 2, 3 from this cluster, 1, 2, 3. So this cluster, 1, 2, 3. You want to connect this red key to the first pin of this terminal, okay? So we're gonna grab our JST PH connectors, 4-pin right there, okay? We're gonna do this, open that, okay, and we're gonna check the orientation so we know which one to pick. So it appears that we will be putting it on, let's see the autofocus here. So we're going to be putting it on focus on this first pin over here, okay? So if I turn that over, that crap. Lighting is terrible. Okay, we'll be putting it on here, okay, but the proper orientation for it is this way, okay? So we're gonna be putting the connection on the very first hole, okay? Like right there, okay? And I'll show you again how it goes into the board. It goes in like this, okay? Okay, so that's the orientation. Goes in there. Like so. Okay, so we'll get that set up. I'm just gonna grab my crimp tool. And my clips. Okay. Those. Oh, first we have to measure also like how much, because this is too long for that. So we're just gonna measure it out. So what I like to do is I like to do this and kind of just press this into the middle of the PCB and then turn it over, and then kind of just estimate how much length I'm gonna need, because what I plan on doing is I'm gonna be tying it on this point, and then I'm just gonna let this wire separate into this hole right here. Okay, so somewhere around this one, just hold it down there and then trace it over here, and then just mark it with your hands, with your fingernails, and just kind of pinch it and then cut it where you pinched. Okay, so we're just gonna do that. I'm gonna cut it. So about here, and we're gonna strip that tip, and we're gonna put on the JST pH crimp on it. Okay. Clean. Alright, put in the crimp. Right. Right, test your connection, give it a little tug, make sure that it's in there, and it looks like it's good. So we're going to be putting it in. Make sure you put it on the correct hole. Right. And just push it in position. Also just use some tweezers if it's kind of fighting you a little bit. Okay, that's in. And then just once more, give it a little tug, make sure it's not going anywhere. Oh, well, mine did. Alright, let me just do that again. Alright, that means it's a poor connection, so we just redo that. Shit happens. And that's why you always give your connections a little tug. Make sure that it's grabbing it properly. Do that again. Fell off. Okay, if you've already done yours, you can skip to the next part. I guess you don't have to wait up for me. Just yeah, skip over. Continue at your pace. Oops. Okay, that's in. A little tug. Let's put it back in again. Alright, give it another tug. Yep, looks like it's in. So we're good to go on this one. We're just going to be putting it into the connection now. So just line it up and push it in. A little awkward at this position. Okay, that's in. So we shouldn't worry about that button anymore. That should be good for now. And we're just going to be connecting the rest of these buttons onto the screw-in terminals. Okay, so we're going to be doing that next. All right, so now that that's set, we're going to be moving on to connecting
connecting these guys into the Brook Gen 5X PCB. Okay, what I like to do is for the order of like of which ones I connect first, I like to do this one first, and then the menu connections right here, and then the right panel connections over here. Okay, so we're gonna start with this one for the directional button side with the L1 and L2. So I'm gonna be popping the I think I'm gonna be putting it on this side. I'm gonna put the schematics, the wiring guide for the Brook Gen 5X on this side of the screen. So we're gonna be popping that over there, and then we're just gonna follow that. Okay, so we're gonna start with the shoulder buttons. Okay, so I'm just gonna be wiring this, and then you can just go follow along. All right. Two. Let's put it in and tighten it down. Okay, give it a tug, make sure it's in there. Okay, that's good. And now we're going to be moving on to L1, which is 7th pin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This guy. Give it a tug. Yep. Good. Just double check. 7. Good. Next, we're going to be putting on. I would say I put on the ground wire just because it's easy. Just because it's also like on the very first one right there. So let's put it in while it's still unpopulated. If you're having a hard time kind of just putting it in places, just grab your tweezers and use that to hold your wires better. Okay. Okay, that's in. Good. Good. Okay. And then next will be the directional buttons. Okay, that's going to be marked on your PCB which one is which. So yeah, just follow that. So right there's markings on here, so you can just read that and to identify which wire is which. Okay. So I'm going to do up first. Third button from the last, or third hold from the last. So 1, 2, 3. It's this guy. Okay, nice and tight. Next is going to be left. This one. Just right beside that hole that we did prior. Okay, good. Right, just this one. Okay, which is right beside that too. and then down, which is the very second to the last key, or hole. Alright, that's connected. Okay, so that's good. Now we're just kind of gonna organize this bar a little better. Later we're gonna be tying it down, so it doesn't need to be like all too neat. But right now we're just gonna see where the routing is gonna be. Okay. Okay. So, okay. Now that that's done, we're gonna be moving on to connecting the menu panel over here. Okay. So that's gonna be start, and then touchpad key is already. So start, and then touchpad key is already right here. Touchpad key is already connected, and then this one is gonna be the share button. So we're gonna be connecting it on the terminal. So, and then the home button, which is also gonna be connected on the terminal over here. Okay. Okay, so it's this one right here. It's gonna be for the home button. It's gonna be marked as PS. Okay, so go back at it. We're gonna be doing home. We're gonna be connecting home, and then skip the touchpad because it's already connected, and then we're gonna be doing the share, and then the home button, which is marked PS on the top terminal schematics here. Okay, so we're gonna do that. So we're gonna start with the start key first, which is marked as options button. So it's this one right here. Oh, hold up, no. Actually, I think I want to start with the ground wire. So we're gonna start with the ground wire, the black wire over here. Okay, so grab that, and we're gonna connect it right next to the right key. So it's gonna be right, and then skip one so that it's right beside that PS key. Okay, that's good. Right. Awesome. Now we're gonna do next the options key, which is this one right here, this first one. So grab this. Okay. Okay. So it's already looks like option, share, and PS is already right beside each other. So that should make things a little easier. It's gonna be 3 options here. Okay, and then share. So we're just gonna grabbing this guy right here, share button connection. And just routing it right here. Get a tug, make sure it's in there. Okay, that's good. And then home button, which is PS button, which is the very last one here. All right. So right there. Okay, grab that, and we're just gonna put it on the PS side. Okay. Okay, that's good. All right, so menu panel is fully connected now, so that's good. Now we're going to be connecting the face button side with the circle and triangle and square and X, and the R2s and R1s. Okay, so I think with this one, I'm going to be starting with the R2s and R1s as well. Okay, so just gonna grab R2. Okay. And it's connected right beside L1 or L2. So it's kind of hard to go in there now, so I'm just gonna grab my tweezers. Make sure my head is not on the way. Okay. Just nice and tight. And it's in. Alright, that's R2. Now we go R1. What's options 1, 2, and then R1. Options 1, 2, and R1. Where's my options 1, 2, and R1? Okay, it's in. That's good. Okay, that's done. Now we're going to be moving on to the ground wire for this part. So black wire we're going to grab, and we're just going to go put it on the right beside the other ground wire. Right in the middle here. Okay. All right. That's good. Later, we're gonna be organizing the wiring for this, but so far it looks like it's pretty good. But we're gonna be using some zip ties to make this a little bit more neater. And now we're gonna go with. I think I want to go with square first. So let's grab square. Right beside option. Okay, that's good. Options, and then right beside square is triangle. It's this one right here. Okay, so triangle. There. Okay, that's good. And now we got circle and cross. So I want to do circle first. And that's right beside R2. Okay. Oh, shit. Missed. do that again. Didn't quite get it in. Okay, that's tight. That's good. So let's circle. And now for the last one, yeah, we're doing cross. Okay. Come on, get in there. There you go. All right, that's good. So now that that's all connected, on this part, I'm going to be recommending that you pop into the controller tester website that I'm going to link on the descriptions down below. Do that, connect the USB-B to your computer, and then test out, make sure all your connections is good before we proceed to the next step. And that next step is we're going to be just tying down all these cables, and then we're going to be moving on to the joystick. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. I recommend that you do the same testing. Okay. All right. So I tested my connections, and looks like everything is connected pretty much correctly, except for one thing. I connected R1 and R2. I switched them up. When I was initially connecting it. So yeah, now I fixed it. It's already connected properly now. So now we're gonna be moving on to just doing some cable management here. So we're just gonna grab a couple of zip ties here. There. I'm just gonna grab more if I need some more, but there's no specific count. However much you need, you think you'll need. So that was a weird sentence that I said there. However much you think you will need. Okay, that's it. Okay, so I like to start with this side right here and kind of train these connections so that they're pointing that way. Okay. Okay, that's good. That's good. Now we move on to the menu bunch here. Just right here. I'm gonna put the zip tie kind of close to the options key here, so the start key. And just okay. Next one. Now this one is where the touchpad key connection will kind of veer off to its own direction. So yeah, this, make sure there's no tension on there so that it doesn't cause any problems down the line. So make sure this is still kind of nice and loose there. Okay, don't want it to be like having any connection issues there. Okay, and then now we're gonna connect this bunch together, or not connect, bunch this wires together. So okay, already looking better. And now we're gonna join it here. Now we're gonna join all of the wires now. Right here, right at this point. Close it down. Like so. Okay, that's good. pretty good already. Now, just gonna grab this one. I'm just gonna bunch it up again. Okay. All right. Actually, I kind of want to slide it down just a little bit. All right. Okay, as you can see here, there's another line of connection right here. Make sure it's not too tight right there. So on the last bunch that I'm going to be doing, I'm just going to not include that and just bunch up the wires here that is that kind of collected on this corner. Alright, and that should be it. And we're just going to cut the excess and then we'll move on. Alright. So that's it for the top panel. Okay. So we're gonna set this aside and we're gonna move on to connect, or not set this aside, but we're gonna move it on this top part, and then we're gonna grab our joysticks, which is gonna be really easy to connect now because it's just DuPont connectors and we're just gonna be putting it on slots. Okay, so yeah. All right, so now that we have that all connected and all sorted out with the zip ties, we're gonna be moving on here. We're going to start with connecting the joysticks here for the 3 volts. So the very first splice connection that we made is going to be the one that we'll be connecting as displayed on the wiring guide there. We're going to be doing 3 volts first. This one is a little awkward, so you're going to have to like kind of overlap the 2 panels together just so that it can reach, because it's quite short. So right there. I'm gonna do 3 volts, very first pin, and then we'll do L3, which is marked as S on the joystick PCB. That means switch. So L3. It's gonna be here. All right. And LX is going to be the diagonal, the horizontal axes. So that's going to be marked as H. So LX on the third one. And then LY, which is the vertical axis, and is going to be marked as V on our PCB. So right there on number 4 is LY. Okay. Now we're going to be connecting, next is RX, which is the right stick and the horizontal axes. Okay, which was that? This one. Yep. Okay. And then we're going to connect the RY, which is the vertical axis, marked as V on the PCB. RX or RY. Yep, RY. Connect that there. Okay. And next is R3. Good. Grab that. quite the mess, but still we're gonna be doing another run of cable management here, so no worries. And then for the last one, we're gonna be connecting the ground wire, which is the second black wire that we have on this joystick. Okay, so it's gonna be marked as G on the PCB. So let's just connect that, and that's it. So yeah, okay. And then also one last connection is gonna be the USB-B right here, but we're gonna do that just a little bit later. Okay, first we're gonna be doing some cable management on this one. Where we're just gonna tie this one down with some zip ties. And just use however much you'll need. Okay. That's good. And I think just one more should do it. So right here, I'm kind of making the wires go to this direction instead of like going outwards. Okay, just so it's easier to close later, because the wires will kind of assist you. So it's kind of folding the wires just a little tiny bit. Okay. Okay. See, as you can see there, it's going that way a little bit. Okay. So we'll cut the excess and then we'll proceed to the next step. All right. Next one, we're just gonna connect this guy into here finally, and then we can get ready to close it out. But before we close everything down, we're just gonna make sure that everything is working properly, and also we're gonna be doing another setup for the Brook Gen 5X, because there might be some missing updates on this one. For most of the boards that I used in the past, I had to go through the updater so that I can put on the let me just tighten this, so that I can make the joysticks work, because most of the time the software installed, the firmware version that is installed in these guys are not up to date, so the joysticks will not work. So I'm going to be showing that on the next part of the video and how to set that up. Okay, so before we close it down, what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip this over and close it. So actually, we're gonna flip the base down. We're gonna let this one stay up. Okay. And then we're gonna flip the base over to close it. All right. So now that that's closed, make sure nothing is pinching or anything. Okay. Have a look on the inside right there. Make sure nothing is getting stomped on by the screw pillars. So yeah. So far so good. I think we're ready to move on to the next step. Okay. Okay. So yeah. All right, so this is the next step that we're going to be doing. We're going to be setting up we're going to be updating the Brook board that we have. So I just need you to go to this website, this link right here. I'm going to be putting it down on the description. So click that and it should take you to this page of the Brook updater. Okay, so here we're just going to select the fighting board series, and then what we're going to do is, so it says here PS and share. So I believe it's going to be this one, or hold down, PS, so it's going to be this one,
the fourth key, which is our home button, our PS button, and this key right here, the third one, which is our share button. So we're gonna hold that, and then we're gonna plug into the USB here. Okay, aim it properly. Okay. So hold these two and then plug it in. Okay, and that's good. And then we can just hit connect, and then select this one, the WPM USB connect. And then we can select the proper firmware that we're going to be installed, which is 1.6.2 for this one. If there's any later versions that comes out, then just select the very latest one. So right now, as of the shooting of this video, it's 1.6.2.0 is the latest one. Okay. So, and also it's going to show a little picture right here of the PCB. So Brook Gen 5X fighting board. That's good because that's what we're using. And then we're just going to hit start. And then that's just going to start the update process. Okay. Okay, so shows the confirmation right here. Firmware has been successfully updated. So that's good. We can unplug it now. And then next that we're going to be moving on with is testing. Okay. So before we start testing, we're going to be putting on this this joystick panel, and then we're also going to be putting on the joystick, the thumbsticks for it. Okay. So yeah, we're going to move on to that one. Okay, so here I have my thumbsticks here, black thumbsticks. I'm using it here, and then I'm just gonna put it on here. Slide it in, push it down, and do the next one. Okay. All right. Okay. So before we close anything down, I mean, this is all still not screwed down or anything, right? So before we do that, we're going to be grabbing our joystick panel, and then we're just going to make sure that it's on. Okay, so we're going to put this on to the panel, and the reason we want to do this is because the Brook Gen 5X board does an automatic calibration. So if we move our joysticks without having the circle gates on, it's gonna mess up the calibration, because yeah, it's just gonna do an auto calibration once you put it in the first time. Okay, so we're just gonna install this. Okay, so that's on. Okay, we're not gonna close everything down just yet, but we're gonna make sure that the joystick panel is on there. Okay, so we just flip it over again. All right, make sure nothing is getting squished down. It's good. So observe the sides. Make sure it's going down placed nicely. Okay, yep. And then we're gonna move on to testing it. Okay. So yeah, pull up the gamepad tester that we used earlier, and then we're just gonna plug it in. Make sure that the joysticks are working properly. So, and also have another run at testing your buttons. Okay. So we're just gonna plug it in. Okay. Okay. So buttons are working, I believe. Yep. I think that's working good. Start. That's there's TP key, touchpad key, then share, and then home button. Oh no, don't pull that up. Damn it. Close. Okay. Well, that proves that our PS button is working. So yeah, that's the function of the PS button for the PC. So when you click this button right here, it will pop up Steam. Okay, so and then this one, okay, share, we already tried that. TP key, yep, works. So now we're gonna be doing the joysticks right here. Okay, so once I turn this, it should calibrate the joysticks over here. Okay, that's good. So good. So every time you put this on, it's just gonna do a another run of calibration. So even if these are not reaching, eventually it would. So even if these axes are not reaching, eventually as you unplug it and plug it back in, it's gonna correct itself and reach those limits properly. Okay, so yeah, I think we're ready to just close this down. Okay, so we're just gonna go back here, and then we're just gonna grab our screws, and we're gonna close it down now that we confirmed everything is working. Okay, so that's the very important point. Make sure that everything is working first before you close it down. Okay, so yeah. Check out the seams too, make sure it's all closed down. And it looks like so far so good. So that's it. Have another run of testing. I'll be doing that as well, and then we'll close this video out. So, okay. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. One last part before I close this out. Forgot. We need to put on the anti-slip pads right here. So these are just like 1-inch rubber pads that I bought off of AliExpress. I guess I will put that on the parts list as well, just as an alternative for the grip tape that I initially sent. But yeah, both of these should work out the same way as the other. Okay. So you can just mimic how I'm putting this on too. The placement of it is gonna be these 3 corners right here, and the same with these 3 corners on the other side. Okay. All right. That should be the final step for this. Good. Good. Everything is good. And just observe the seams. Make sure that it's all closed up. And it appears so. Looks like we're good. All right. Nice. All right. Okay. All right, and that should be it for this build. I hope you had fun, and thank you very much for getting through the tutorial series. Really put a lot of hard work on this one, and I hope it is enough for you to build your own controller. And yeah, if you have any questions or anything, any suggestions of like future designs that I can do for the custom designs here with the engravings and the color themes, yeah, just shoot me a message if you got any ideas, and I might consider putting it onto the file set as well. So yeah, thank you very much for spending the time and the effort and your money to build this controller with me. It means a lot that you guys still like the things that I put out. So yeah, enjoy the new controller. So yeah, if I have any other new projects, I'll definitely make sure to post it as well. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.